So what we're looking at now, remember heat stroke from yesterday? So, all right, here we go. Heat stroke is an emergency. It's serious. Very well can kill you. You end up cooking your organs. I'm not talking about the ones you play in church. I'm talking about the ones like your kidneys. Okay, you start cooking your kidneys. There's not enough time to find somebody else who's got a kidney to try and replace you. You cook your liver, cancel Christmas. All right. So prevent it. Coaches and athletic trainers absolutely must prevent heat illness. Now, let's talk about some of the symptoms of those. All right. So we've had those symptoms there about heat stroke and also about heat exhaustion. All right. So they're sweating. They got pale skin, mild elevated temperature. They're also dizzy. Okay. Have a little confusion. All right. What else can that also be? What else does those symptoms sound like? About a concussion? So when we get into head injuries, you got to understand that not all the symptoms that go with one go with the other. So you're out there, you're playing football, it's hot, all right? Somebody gets hit. They always get hit, right? So which one do they have? They got heat illness, or do they have a concussion? So that's where you've got to know. That's where you've got to know your differences as far as adding them all together. Yeah, you could have both, but possibly. That's when we get through. Boy, now that's an old wives' tale. Now it's all thrown out as far as telling somebody not to go to sleep. You want them to sleep. You want them to rest.
Okay, my grandma, when she was little, her brother fell out of the suffocated bed and he go to sleep and then he never
Well, yeah, I probably had a hematoma. All right, let's talk about. We need to replace our fluid. How much are we sweating out? We're sweating out how much? 1 quart every hour, and you can do how much of that? 2 hours. So you can lose half a gallon in that time. By the time you're thirsty, you're already behind the 8 ball. Okay? Meaning that you're already at a level to where you need more than what you're drinking when you're thirsty. So, cold drinks at 45 to 55 degrees tend to empty more rapidly from the stomach than warmer drinks. Unlimited water is best. All right? Drinking water is best. All right? Why would that be? Anybody ever hear of osmosis? What's osmosis? The low pressure comes in, the low concentrate, the water in a lower concentration will come in to dilute whatever's got the higher concentration. So let's say that you've got 50 parts per million in your cells, 50 parts per million of sugar or of salt or of whatever, all right? And then you drink it up. And then you drink something that's got 100 parts per million, okay? So now it's a hypertonic solution in your belly. Hyper meaning more. So now that you have a hypertonic solution in your belly, a hypo, which is less, outside in the cells, you actually take water from your cells into your stomach to dilute it before it can go back out. So that's why water's best. Back in the day, they used to give sugar pills, or not sugar pills, salt tablets. Here, have a salt tablet. Now go out and practice. Well, that was just stupid because of osmosis. Now that we got all this salt in our belly, we're going to try and take all the water from the cells, bring it into the belly to dilute it, and then put it back out. Hey, it might be a good idea that you're thinking of taking some salt, but you need to do that all during the day, not at one time right there, right before you go out to practice. But that's what they would do, and so these people would get dehydrated. Not a great thing. Sugars slow your rehydration, and don't take salt right before you go to practice. Now, it says no salt. It doesn't mean that you don't do salt all the time. Actually, the things that we tell the athletes here that go out during fall sports is salt your food all the time. Put a little extra salt on your food. Don't put a whole bunch, especially if you got high blood pressure. All right? But put a little salt on there so that way you don't have to be saying, I need to have some salt. All right, keep going. Now, when we do 2-a-days, right? Remember when we do 2-a-days? Do we start out wearing helmets and shoulder pads and everything? No, what do? A shorts and a shirt. They're getting acclimatized to the heat. All right? So then this one here, he comes in a week later. Is he allowed to just go outside and wear shoulder pads and his helmet and everything? No? They've already had that week where they wore shorts and shirts. You're right. You're right. He wasn't here. So anybody new that comes to the football field, they have to go through 4 days of helmet and short and shirt. That's it. All they can wear is a helmet. All right? So you got to get accustomed to the heat and getting out in the hot temperatures. Unfortunately, we're not in the days of where kids actually work outside anymore. You all sit inside the nice air-conditioned building. And what happens? You do that all summer long. You're not used to the heat. You say, I'm going to play football. You get out there, and you can't handle it that well, and so you start to get overheated and dehydrated. Not cool. Back in the day, kids would go outside and play every day outside. And actually, some of the kids would go out and help their families haul hay all summer long so they could make money. Today, those games seem to take over everything. So, gradually get out and work gradually into exercise program. If you're a smart athlete, you'll do that before 2-a-days start, probably a month before. All right? You're going to provide breaks in the shade during practice. That's why we have the carport out there in the tent. And as you see, that's probably why you got that right, right? The UIL requires a 4-day acclimatization period after your paperwork is complete with only a helmet, shirt, and shorts. All right? So let's talk about this. So I'm fixing to get you all fired up about this. Okay? Y'all going to say, you're crazy, mister. But you already knew that, right? Good. Let's find the people who are actually going to be those that are going to have a problem. That one right there, he's going to have a problem. All right? That girl right there, she's going to have a problem. All right? That one sitting in the corner, she's probably going to have a problem. All right? Why? Because they're fair-skinned people. Where do fair-skinned people come from? Your genetics. Where's your family been living? Ireland. Does it get very hot in Ireland? It doesn't. California, but that's, let's go back. What's your nationality? German. Does it get very hot in Germany? A little warmer than Ireland. All right? So here's the whole thing. Your families have been living wherever it was they were living for centuries. Right? What did your genes do? Your genes got saying, hey, I know how to keep warm. That's what my genes said. They said, that's right. It gets cold here in Iceland. It gets cold here in Sweden, and it gets cold, etc. So they're not used to having to turn on the sweat glands and say, all right, let's get rid of this heat that we've and dissipate it. You're not going to break 1,000 years, thousands of years of your family's genes in just 4 or 5 generations, in just 200 years. You're not going to break 1,000 years, 200 years. Not going to happen. Find people with large muscle mass. Why? Why large muscle mass? If you're in shape and have muscles, you have more mitochondria. More mitochondria increases metabolism. Increased metabolism does what? Generates heat. Yes. So we're generating heat already because we've got a better body. What about overweight people? Yeah. So those people also are going to have a problem because, well, they've got enough insulation, one. Two, on top of that, they got to be probably overweight because they haven't been out exercising, so they're not used to it. So both of those people there, all right, and the person who is really in shape, you got to watch them too because their body says, okay, anybody ever watch horse racing? Those horses those horses know that they're about to get into that gate, and they're already what you call lathered up. They're already sweating before they run the race. Yeah, because they're already saying, I'm fixing, I got to get rid of this. I got some energy. I'm ready to go. I know I'm going to have to cool my body down so that it starts early. Same with those people who work out. Their bodies are so in tune to know that you're about to work out, they turn on the sweat glands quick. I can cool off quicker before anybody else. All right, there we go. All right, fair people skin, red hair, blonde hair. Where are those people coming from again? Yeah, Scandinavian, etc. So you're not going to get rid of 1,000 years of history in your family because, well, you live in Texas now. So you got to be careful. Pretty much what I always say is that you're going to see the fair kids, the fair-skinned kids. Certainly keep an eye out for them. But it can happen to anybody. So pay attention. All right? So what are you going to do about your uniforms? Well, wear short sleeves. All right? Of course, everybody's now saying, well, I got to wear long sleeves because it's got the dry fit or whatever that Under Armour or Nike calls it or whatnot. But if you've got something over your arms, how are you going to get evaporative heat loss? Yeah, it's pretty tough to do that. You really don't get that to happen. How about perforated clothes? Those football jerseys, they're all perforated. Matter of fact, when I worked with my dad in training camp, the Eagles practice pants were perforated. They weren't near as perforated as those football jerseys, but they were perforated. So that helps too. Color. All right? Not black. Why not? Yeah. How much hotter is a black football helmet compared to a white football helmet? How do you guys know this stuff? Oh, it's behind me on the wall. Great. 7 degrees hotter. So if somebody's at 100 degrees and they're wearing a white helmet, you don't want to get to 107. At 107, you're already cooking. So, socks. You pull those socks all the way up, or do you wear short socks? Wear some short socks. All right? That's quite a bit. That's quite a bit of area of your skin that could be used for evaporative heat loss. But if you've got them covered up with socks, it's a little difficult. All right? Your helmet. Whenever the athlete is not actually participating in a practice session, let them take their helmet off. You ever watch a football game on TV and the great big bald guy takes his hat off and they're playing in Denver and you just see the steam coming off? That's where all the heat is. Up here at the head. And you can get rid of it so quickly. So let them take their hat off. All right? There's a black or a dark helmet. It's 7 degrees hotter than a white helmet. Don't forget your shoulder pads. All right? Your shoulder pads. We've all touched shoulder pads, right? It's foam. Inside the foam is air. All right? The air in the foam, in that foam gets hot. It's like a thermos. So it's an insulator. So there you are. You're out there hot, and you got these shoulder pads on that's just keeping the heat on your chest and your back. If you got time, let them take them off. It doesn't take very long to take off and put on a pair of shoulder pads. As a matter of fact, that's one of the things that Corey Stringer's family sued about, was the shoulder pad. All right? So, here we go. Weight records. This is what we talked about yesterday. Have your athletes come in, get on the scale. What do they wear? You're right, nothing. You write, the athlete trainer or whoever, that person has to write it down. You never trust an athlete because they'll lie. All right? Because they know that if I'm not out there, I can lose my position, especially in the pros. So, write it down. Put it on the weight chart. Have them come in. I don't care if they shower first. Go ahead and shower. Then come back and weigh. But you got to get them within that hour that they get done to practice to know how much they've lost as far as their body weight. Take your temperature and humidity readings. There's actually rules that we have here at Magnolia ISD that say if the temperature is this hot, there will be no practice outside. If it's this hot, not as hot as the other one, but if it's down here and that's A, it gets to B, then you can have practice, but you have to only practice for 20 minutes and then have 5 minutes or 10 minutes rest. And then do that during practice. If it's the next level, then you only can practice for 30 minutes and then have rest. So pay attention to your temperature and humidity. You don't have a book, so you don't have to worry about your page 147. All right, electrical storms. We will talk about electrical storms tomorrow. Yeah, we will. We'll do it on the bus.